So the quorum is yet to be attained, and the Speaker has directed that a further 10-minute quorum bell be on. This is as provided for in the House Standing Order number 40, that if the quorum is not present once the prayer and the chair is taken, a 10-minute quorum bell shall be rung for the members who may be running late or within the precincts of Parliament but yet to make their way into the chamber to do just that and join their colleagues and also enable the House raise that quorum. That is the Leader of the Minority Party, Honorable Stewart Mazayo, who's also the Senator for Kilifi County, has also made his way into the chamber. So that quorum bell will be on for 10 minutes. If other lapse of it, the quorum will not have been raised, then the House may risk being adjourned. However, the Speaker, of course, will guide on the number that will be present at that particular time, so as to enable the House continue with the business that is lined up for consideration this morning. Remember, this morning, Wednesday morning, as is the tradition, Cabinet Secretaries appear before the Senate to respond to various concerns. Last Wednesday, the senators were up in arms over the failure by the Cabinet Secretary to show up, and that was not a good signal from the Cabinet Secretaries. And all right, allow me to hand you over.
Senator Boni and Senator Monegi, kindly take your seats. Clerk, you may proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion.
The Senate Majority Leader.
I rise to give notice of motion number 1 on the order paper, that is the approval of Senator Consolata Nabwire wa Kuibabi to serve in the select committees of the Senate. That notwithstanding the resolution of the Senate made on 12th of February 2025 on the approval of senators to serve in various standing committees of the Senate, and pursuant to standing orders number 197, 199 and 222, following the nomination by the Senate Business Committee, the Senate approves the nomination of Senator Consolata Nabwire wa Kuibubi, MP, to serve in the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration, and the Select Committee on Delegated Legislation. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Now, honorable senators, we do have 8 questions today. We have 2 CSs. We expect them to appear before plenary for purposes of responding to those 8 questions. 1 question is directed to the CS Tourism, and 7 questions are directed to the CS in charge of education. Now, I'm informed that the CS in charge of education is already in the building, and therefore we will start with the questions directed to the CS Education. And we'll start with question number 87 by the Senator from Murang'a County, Senator Joe Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senator, let me first confirm if indeed we have the CS Education in the House. Clerk, can you confirm that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Honorable CS, welcome back to the Senate plenary. You have 7 questions to respond to this morning. We'll start with question number 087 by the Honorable Senator for Murang'a County, Senator John Newton. Yes, Senator for Nairobi City County.
Perhaps, Speaker, you could guide whether we are also expecting the CS of Defense because she was scheduled to appear.
Indeed, the CS Defense was scheduled to appear today, but she indicated through a letter that she'll be engaged in a security meeting this morning. That letter was processed through the SBC. It was found valid, and therefore she was excused from attending today's session. But indeed, we had expected her to appear before us this morning. Yes.
Speaker, it is indeed very frustrating for me as a representative of the people, because now I think, save for going to her house, I don't know how else I'm going to reach the CS for Defense. We, as the leadership of Nairobi, all the 19 of us elected to Parliament, the Senator and the 18 colleagues from the National Assembly, wrote a letter to the CS regarding the ongoing recruitment process. This letter was dated the 16th of September, Honorable Speaker. It was delivered on the same day to the Ministry of Defense headquarters. Up to today, the ministry has not seen it fit at all, just as a matter of courtesy, to address the concerns that have been raised by members of Parliament who represent people. We have taken further steps. We have done press conferences. We have alerted this minister to the urgency of the matter because this recruitment is going on as we speak. Honorable Speaker, the central issue is just one. We in Nairobi feel we are being discriminated against. In all other counties, recruitment is happening at the sub-county level. Nairobi has 17 constituencies, Honorable Speaker. They have lumped recruitment into 3 centers. Just 3 centers. Considering, Honorable Speaker, the population of Nairobi and the biggest youth bulge is actually here in the city. The biggest problem of unemployment is here in the city. When an opportunity such as the recruitment into our defense forces arises, we feel that our young people in Nairobi should be given a fair chance. Now, if we have taken the courtesy, the steps to write to the minister, she doesn't have the courtesy to write back to the representatives of the people. We are not writing these letters for ourselves. Honorable Speaker, I don't have a child who's old enough to go to the defense forces. So I am not doing this or asking this, and indeed my colleagues, for any of our family members. It's for the people that we represent. Can the minister at least have the courtesy? Just that the way that she has written a letter saying she does not want to come to the Senate today, or she's not able to come to the Senate today, I believe she can be courteous enough to originate correspondence to respond to the representative of the people of Nairobi. So I was waiting for her this morning. And these are the frustrations we go through as representatives of the people. We write, you don't respond. We do press conferences, no response. I wait for you where the people send me to wait for you, you don't show up. Now, my only option is to find out where she lives, Honorable Speaker, and to go and wait for her at the gate. Now, what else am I supposed to do? Because it is very frustrating. So I hope, Honorable Speaker, in the letter that she has sent you, she has indicated when next she will be available. Because honestly, and this is a live matter, this is a live matter. When will it ever be resolved? If she is not here today to give answers to the people of Nairobi, when will it be resolved? After the recruitment is done. It is very, very unfortunate, Honorable Speaker, and I hope that this House can record the disappointment of myself and the people of Nairobi that she has failed to show up this particular morning. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity.
Yes, Senator Boni.
Mr. Speaker, I must first apologize that I was summoned to another meeting in the middle of the SBC meeting, and therefore I didn't have an opportunity to raise this before the that opportunities for children to join the military are being sold for up to 300, 400,000. There's an old man in Kakamega by the name of Maurice Mate. Maurice Mate owns a bull worth 250,000. And he came to me and told me that, please, because I need 400,000, just give me the 400,000, my bull is worth 250, then you'll have helped me the difference. So I asked him, what is the problem? He said, I've been asked to go and buy a chance in the military. So we want the minister to clarify whether chances of going into the military are up for sale or it is on merit. And if it is on merit, what is that merit, Mr. Speaker? And finally, Mr. Speaker, children from upcountry who have spent all their time here in Nairobi, for all they care, some of them don't even speak their vernaculars. But their parents registered them in Bungoma, in Busia, to get ID cards. When they want to access recruitment here, they are told, go back to your home. And yet this child, the only thing that connects him to the so-called home is the ID. Why are these children being sent up country instead of being recruited from Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, where they were born, bred, went to school, and they become adult, they only went home to pick the ID card? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable. Honorable Senators, we have 8 questions to be responded to. Yes, Senator Abbas.
Honorable Speaker, on the same note, I have asked for a statement from the Minister for Defense in June last year. Sorry, June this year, July this year. And I have received response on 25th July 2025, that was written by the minister. And it has been appearing in the papers. I have been told this several times, it has been postponed. This morning, actually, I came to ask the same question, but it was not in the order paper. So I think there's a concern on the Minister for Defense to at least be able to appear in this House as planned, because this is the 3rd time now that this question is postponed. So I want to bring to attention on that, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Senators, for your concerns. Senator for Kilifi, you have something to say before I give direction on this matter?
Asante, Mstahiki Speaker. Mstahiki Speaker, pia mimi nataka kujiunga na wenzangu kuhusikana na ile mambo ya kuandikishaji kazi wa vijana ambao wako manyumbani wanatafuta kazi katika jeshi na pia vile vile polisi. Ni jambo la kusikitisha kuona ya kwamba kama Kilifi County imepangiwa kama pengine tutachukua watoto kama 300, lakini tukiangalia katika orodha ile ya watu ambao wanachukuliwa kutoka Kilifi, utapata ya kwamba kama Magarini watachukua watoto 2, Malindi watachukua mtoto mmoja, kama ni Ganzo watachukua watoto 2, na Kilifi South watachukua mtoto mmoja. Sasa tunashindwa katika zile nambari ambazo wameziandika 10,000 ambazo watachukua watoto kwa kikazi, inachukuliwa namna gani? Ikiwa Kilifi katika total yote katika Kilifi County wanaweza kuchukua watoto kama 10 tu peke yake. Kwa hiyo tunaona kwamba kilio kama hichi ambacho kimekuja mbele ya Senate hivi sasa ni jambo la kusikitisha, kama waziri ambaye anahusikana na mambo ya kuchukua vijana ambao wanaenda katika kazi za jeshi ama polisi, ya kwamba anaweza kukosa kuja ndani ya bunge la Senate na kuweza kujibu maswali. Hususan hata sisi tukiwa ndani ya Kilifi tuko na malalamishi mengi sana kuhusikana na vile vijana wanaandikwa kazi, na ilhali watu wa Kilifi wanakosa nafasi zao katika uandikishaji kazi ndani ya
Senator for Nairobi City County, you've said that the recruitment is ongoing. I thought it's supposed to happen between the 13th and 15th of October.
Let me just confirm the dates because the advertisement was put out. Speaker, the advertisement was put out on the 14th of September. We took that step that I've referred to write to her immediately on the next day, on the 15th of September, as leaders in Nairobi. And we have not been responded to, Honorable Speaker. It's almost 2 weeks now.
Now, in that letter, he had requested to appear on the 4th of November, which is way after the recruitment exercise. Now, with the concerns that have been raised, it will be more appropriate to engage the CS before the recruitment exercise. Now, the problem we'll find ourselves in is we are going to Busia on Monday. After Busia, we are going on recess until the 28th of October. So what I'll try to work with the Secretariat to see if we can have her in Busia, because that is the only opportunity we can engage her. So I will work with the Secretariat to see if we can have the CS appear when we sit in Busia for purposes of just handling the issues surrounding the recruitment. The other questions may be responded to when we're back after the recess. But this one cannot wait, because once we resume, the exercise will have already taken place, and therefore it will have been overtaken by events.
Speaker, thank you for that direction. I am just a bit skeptical because the defense headquarters are in Nairobi. If we are not able to secure our attendance in Nairobi, I don't know how much we can expect.
We'll put our best foot forward. Take
Very
it
well,
from me.
very well. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you. So now let's proceed to hear the responses from the CS in charge of education. Senator Jonyo, to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and allow me also to thank you for the very wise direction that you have given. Because, Mr. Speaker, it must be noted that we do not ask these questions just for the sake of it. And that the question that had been put by the Senator for Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, is very important, and especially the fact that it was not supposed to be overtaken by events. So I want to thank you for the ruling that you have just made. Mr. Speaker, having said that, these are my questions for the CS in charge of education. One, quality, content accuracy, and learners' preparedness for senior secondary pathways. B, what measures has the ministry put in place to ensure clear role definition and manageable workloads for JSS teachers who are currently compelled to also teach in the primary section despite the already high demands at JSS level? C, could the Cabinet Secretary also indicate how many practical learning facilities such as science and ICT labs and workshops have been constructed or equipped for JSS, and clarify how practical components are being delivered in schools lacking such infrastructure? Mr. Speaker, those are my questions.
Now, honorable senators, we will we'll have 20 minutes per question. So the question by Senator Jonyo started running at exactly 10. So at 10:20, we'll stop and move to the next question. Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, honorable members. Thank you, Honorable Senator from Murang'a, for that question. In response to the first part of that question, Mr. Speaker, junior school curriculum came with new learning areas. However, most of these learning areas are related to the areas of specialization of the teachers currently deployed or posted to junior school. To address the gap on instructional quality and content, the government has undertaken the following measures. One, the government is retooling all the teachers engaged in junior school on pedagogy and content. All teachers in junior school have been retooled to fully equip them with the necessary pedagogical skills to handle the new learning areas in junior school curriculum. The retooling exercise covered pedagogy and content in all the learning areas. Number two, the government is adopting targeted recruitment and redeployment criteria. The government has adopted a targeted recruitment and deployment approach that accords priority to the needy areas of learning. In the latest recruitment exercise, deployment programs, teachers of science, mathematics, and technical subjects were given priority to bridge the shortage of teachers in the said learning areas. This has gradually addressed the shortage of teachers in the sciences, in the technical, mathematical, and languages in junior school. Part B of that question, the measures that the ministry has taken. Mr. Speaker, the government, through the Teacher Service Commission, has put in place the necessary administrative structures to ensure that teachers deployed to teach in junior school are allocated workloads based on their areas of specialization as well as the staffing norms of the junior school. All teachers deployed in junior school have well-defined job description outlining their teaching and co-curricular activities. Mr. Speaker, due to the reduction on the number of classes in primary schools, the staffing position in the primary section is optimal, and there are no cases of teachers in junior school being compelled to teach in the primary section. Part C of that question, Mr. Speaker, as I've already indicated, this is becoming an indication from the previous answers that I was given, because this was going to be the third or fourth question, but the government has constructed 23,000 classrooms and has taken all deliberate steps to increase infrastructure to create an enabling learning environment in our junior schools. This includes the construction of 23 classrooms that have been constructed in order to take care of grade 9. The goal is to ensure that as more resources become available, we progressively enhance the infrastructure in our junior schools in terms of science and ICT labs, as well as workshops. Currently, Mr. Speaker, junior schools that do not have purpose-built laboratories have dedicated rooms that have been equipped to support practical components of the learning areas. We have directed junior schools to utilize the infrastructure repair, maintenance, and improvement vote of their capitation to purpose-build rooms that serve as laboratories for practical learning. This vote consists of 4,000 per learner per year. In terms of learning materials, Mr. Speaker, for practicals, the capitation per learner has 1,200 shillings for practical and 450 shillings for laboratory materials. These resources are intended to ensure that all schools have adequate facilities for practical lessons. As a ministry, Mr. Speaker, we are working to mobilize resources from the Exchequer and other partners to ensure that we achieve the optimal number of laboratories and workshops for even more seamless teaching and learning in our junior schools. I submit.
Senator John Newton, do you have any supplementary question? You may proceed, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, CS, for your responses. Honorable Speaker, there are 7 learning areas in junior school. And every secondary school teacher, because these are the teachers that are employed to teach or deployed to teach in the junior secondary, is specialized in 2 learning areas. And most of the junior secondary schools will have at most 2 junior secondary school teachers. Exactly how do the 2 teachers, are they expected, especially now that we have 3 cohorts in junior secondary school, that is grades 7, 8, and 9, exactly how will 2 teachers in a school be able to handle 3 cohorts with the 7 learning areas? And lastly, Mr. Speaker, regarding the practical aspect of learning, ICT labs and science labs, the CS has given a good answer about an allocation made per student in order to facilitate these resources and actually labs. But Honorable Speaker, most of these allocated funds are never disbursed in full or at the right time to schools. So exactly where does that leave our learners with the technical aspect of their curriculum? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Mr. Speaker, that is why we say that the government has taken the retooling exercise of teachers in order to ensure that we have sufficient numbers trained in the areas of specialization in order to be able to handle those particular specific curriculum areas. So we have done that, and we've increased the employment of teachers in junior school. Out of the 76,000 teachers that were employed in the last 1 year, 62,000 of those teachers were allocated to junior school. We're also in the process of employing another 24,000 teachers to be able to reduce that gap. So we are working towards ensuring that we have optimal number in the junior school to cover those learning areas of our children. On the issue of ICT labs and the figures, what's happened is when we were doing the analysis to determine how many classrooms and instruments were required to ensure that we have sufficient classes for grade 9, out of the 23,000 classrooms that were done, some of them were on the basis of the labs and ICT rooms that were required. And that is part and parcel of the program that was done to ensure that we have adequate facilities, infrastructure, and instruments in those schools. Thank you.
Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with the tremendous respect to the CS and the learned friend, senior learned friend, C is very specific, Mr. Speaker, that how many practical learning facilities, meaning science labs and ICT labs, specifically across the country, Mr. Speaker. And having an ICT lab or having a practical laboratory means exactly having a laboratory with equipment, Mr. Speaker. So could the CS go into that detail? Because as far as I know, in Makueni County, we don't have any, not even a single one. So I don't know where they have done them in the country. And what are the budgets, if he has any budgets? And if so, since they've been implementing this for years, when is he going to implement this? What are the statistics, Mr. Speaker? I thank you.
Senator Boni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to congratulate the minister. When I follow him, he's committed, and his pronouncements have remained professional. Mr. Speaker, Whereas you have told us that you are going to recruit around 24,000 teachers, for which we are happy. Given that Kakamega County alone, in my office, I have a list of 6,300 teachers hoping that I can help them to get employed. Can you confirm that it is not the ministry's policy that the only people who should benefit from the recruitment are children who are trained and qualified in science-related courses? If that is the case, as you have directed in the current recruitment, what is the fate of the others who are educated and trained by the government in non-science related courses? Are you telling them that their future has collapsed? Will they ever be employed? Or do you want them to be employed abroad, as the Minister for Labor has been cheating people that they can employ people abroad? These are very serious practical issues. And more so, Mr. Speaker, we have children who are now, in fact, not children,
Senator Boni, you've asked your question. Now you're giving a speech.
Allow me just press it a little bit so that the voters know that we are alive to their problems. Mr. Speaker, we have young adults aged 40, 41, 42, 43 years old. They have been waiting to be employed. And there is some rule in the ministry that once you are 45 and above, you cannot be employed. Where will these young people go?
Senator for Nairobi City County.
Honorable Speaker, in just the past 2 weeks, the Ministry of Education has actually conceded that when they were doing an audit of schools, out of the, they had audited 12,000 schools out of the 17,500 and found that there were 50,000 ghost students. And in fact, the PS for Education, Bitok, was before the National Assembly, and he confirmed that the problem was most rampant in secondary schools. Now, the ministry sent money to these schools. They know the schools. They know the ghost students. Can the minister tell us today the names of those schools and the names of the persons who withdrew that money? Because by my math, if you are sending 16,000 shillings as capitation, then the country has lost almost 1 billion shillings in that financial year alone from these ghost students. So who are these people who are withdrawing this money?
Senator Mwanagataya.
Honorable Speaker, I've been to quite a number of schools where I've found JSS classes mangled with primary schools. There's a lot of confusion in those primary schools where you find a graduate teacher, maybe is at the headship of a P1 teacher. I mean, there's a lot of confusion. What are you doing to make sure that you establish an independent JSS structure where we have an JSS which is just started on its own without necessarily having been put in a primary school?
Senator Catherine Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to ask a question. Welcome CS to the Senate. Honorable Speaker, my question to the CS is, would you kindly tell the Senate whether your ministry has been allocated adequate budget to ensure that no school in Kenya is unduly or disadvantaged for lack of resources and capitation? And if the budget you've been given is not adequate, what conversation are you having to ensure that you get this budget? Because we have a responsibility to ensure that no child suffers, particularly in a discriminatory manner where some are assisted and others are not assisted.
Senator Fernandi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to ask the Cabinet Minister of Education, what is his position? Because most of these challenges stem on the running and effectiveness of junior secondary schools. What is the ministry's position on the independence and governance structure of managing junior secondary schools, noting that it is distinct between lower primary schools and upper primary schools? Could you clarify, Mr. Speaker, noting that the JSS have been on the streets demanding that they need to be managed independently? And Mr. Speaker, I want to inform the government chief that there is no one cheating anybody. Kasi Maju is a reality. I will take him to some classes after this session.
Senator Mbugua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. CS, a recent inspection of many schools across the country reveals that these labs and the running facilities which are being put up do not have a universal design, and the majority of them are not accessible to the special needs teachers. What is the ministry doing to ensure that the special needs teachers who goes to the normal schools are catered for and they benefit from these facilities? Thank you.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
So to Senator Manzo's question, the question is specific, and I did indicate that all our junior schools have either a purpose-built laboratory or a converted classroom for teaching practical components. Those that do not have purpose-built labs are being considered as resources become available. But so far, 20,926 of our junior schools have either purpose-built laboratories or classrooms converted into labs that can be used for practical lessons. Now, the recruitment of the 24,000 teachers is a recruitment that is targeted to ensure that we bridge the gap of the teachers that we do not have in junior school. And that gap shows that out of the requirements that we have, 60% of them are STEM required teachers. So the recruitment would be at least 60% of those would be science or STEM trained teachers, and the rest will be those trained in the other arts and other science, social sciences. So it is not that there is one group that will completely not get employment. It is just that there is a discrepancy, and therefore it's an analysis that has been done, and to show we get the teachers that we need, and progressively, because next year we also have a plan of employing another 16,000. So we'll be able progressively to ensure that as we train our teachers, we are able to employ them. This last week, we held a conference of all the stakeholders in the education sector. And the question we asked ourselves, where should we start? Should we start from the admissions to what the universities or the colleges have, or should we start from what we require from the market? So that we trained teachers or we train our graduates for jobs that are required in the market, industry linkage. So that conversation is now taking place so that we have a comprehensive policy where we are training for available jobs, so that we do not train, for example, 100,000 teachers when we require 35,000 teachers. We don't train 500 doctors when we require 1,500 per year, so that we can have a policy that is informed by data in order for us to ensure that we do not have some sectors having an oversupply of the particular careers and others we have an undersupply. So that conversation is now being had between all the stakeholders in the education sector in order for us going forward to have a comprehensive, a coherent policy that is end to end.
Honorable CS, you have 3 minutes to...
To Honorable Sifuna's question, yes, what we decided to do is after the Auditor General flagged out that she had done a specific audit for the last 4 years, a forensic audit for the last 4 years, where they discovered discrepancies, we decided as a ministry in this third term to only release resources to schools where we have verified the number of students that have been enrolled. That exercise is ongoing. We have done 75% of it. We have about 25% to go. And those anomalies are now being discovered. So what I would urge is that we will not be able to give you the full analysis as we speak until we complete. But once we complete, we will analyze, for example, if resources were sent to a bank for school X, we'll have to find out who signed for those resources from that bank, and action will be taken because that's criminal. So that is the reason why we are doing this verification, in order for us to be able to know for sure how many students do we have, how many learners do we have in each stage. That question is tied to Honorable Muma's question on the basis of the budget. Because the budget to our ministry is based on the number of students that we have, because we have a policy of 1,540 for primary school, 15,000 for junior school, and 22,200 and something for secondary school. Now, if we do not have the proper numbers, then you can't push for the proper budget. So that's why when we submit our budget to Parliament and to Treasury, it is slashed because we do not really agree, all of us as government, as to what is the actual number of students that we have. That's why we said, let's do a verification exercise so that for sure we know what number we have. When we submit our budget, it will not be subject then to slashing because the numbers will be known by everybody. So it's going to help us make those decisions, and it's a good exercise. And where some people have committed any sort of offense, action will be taken against the junior secondary school teachers' independence. The Presidential Working Party, which gave the recommendations for reforms in the sector, recommended that we have what they call a comprehensive school for all the primary and junior school being under one body. That's how the domiciling of junior school was brought to primary and was not taken to senior school. So we are working on the basis of the Presidential Working Party recommendation. However, the amendments to the laws and the seasonal paper is ongoing, and the drafting is ongoing. Once that is done and goes through cabinet, it will be presented to Parliament for action. At that point, an analysis can be done to see what can be done in that space, because we are in the process of reforms and the reforms are still ongoing. Thank you. On the specialists, if I have a minute, the special needs. On the issue of the special needs and what is being done on it, there are specific schools that have special needs infrastructure. And in terms of the funds that we give to them to support them to get instruments, to get the facilities that they require, on top of the figure that we give, for example, in secondary school of 22,000, where we have a special needs child, 32,000 is added to them so that what is required can be rebuilt for those specific schools where they are. Thank you.
We move to question number 089 by the Honorable Senator for Tharaka Nithi, Senator Wenda Gataya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my question is to the CS Education. What is the ministry doing to address the deplorable condition of amenities in many public schools and the secondary schools countrywide that often contributes to a conducive learning and development for learners? B, Honorable Speaker, what other strategies, apart from reliance on the national government, the Constituent Development Fund, Does the ministry have to improve infrastructure in these schools?
Honorable CS, you may now respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to respond to those two questions together, if I may be allowed. Honorable Speaker, as I have already indicated and as we all know, the government's policy of 100% transition means that there will be additional pressures on school infrastructures as enrollment continues to grow. In addition to reliance on the national government CDF, the other measures that the government has taken to develop and maintain infrastructure in our schools include the following. We secure targeted budgetary allocations for infrastructure development and improvement. For example, this financial year, the ministry has allocated 1.3 billion to support infrastructure development in schools countrywide. Number two, we mobilize resources from development partner with the grade 9 classrooms that were supported by the World Bank. We are currently working with other partners such as the Kuwaiti Fund and the Safaricom Foundation for School infrastructure development. In schools, for example, 4,000 shillings per learner is earmarked to infrastructure development, and in secondary schools, 5,000 is earmarked for repairs, maintenance, and improvement. The ministry also encourages alumni-led infrastructure development initiatives through community contributions programs. Schools, through their alumni, can engage stakeholders to raise funds or contribute materials and labor for improving amenities, thereby fostering a sense of ownership and responsibility within the community. Partnerships with county governments also support education programs. For example, in May this year, the ministry entered into an intergovernmental partnership agreement with county governments to support the education budget in programs such as bursaries. Resources, Mr. Speaker, to have an impact in the development and maintenance of infrastructure, it is critical that they are utilized prudently. In this regard, the ministry has invested in enhancing the capacity of school boards of management to ensure that they oversee prudent utilization of resources and to also empower them to enable them to undertake resource mobilization. The successful completion of the 23,000 classrooms that were done for grade 9 was done through the partnership of the national government and the decentralization of the infrastructure development into those schools so that they could own the work that was being done. I submit.
Senator Gataya.
Yes, if indeed these measures have been in place for all these years, because I've seen some very beautiful measures from the military, then one would be interested to know why do we have these dilapidated public schools across the country. CS recently, we were treated to some news in some parts of Tharaka-Nithi where some mud walled schools were paraded across the media houses. Those schools are not even fit for human habitation. They are there, quite a number. And I'm happy, I know of, you send some teams to Tharaka-Nithi, you confirmed about 46 schools that are not even supposed to have children in those, meaning those children are not supposed to even to be there. So if these measures have been in place, what is this that the ministry does to make sure that there is that equitable distribution of the so-called measures? Like, for example, I've seen you talk of 1.3 billion budget for the Ministry of Education. Is there any way? Do you have any? Are you private to information on the amount that could be allocated, maybe to address those urgent situations on the ground? Because I don't think whether those schools are. I think they're supposed to be condemned.
Senator Mandago. Senator Mundigi.
Okay, Bwana Spika, swali langu kwa CS wa elimu. Kitu ya kwanza ni kupongeza CS wa elimu kwa sababu nakumbuka wakati ulikuwa fanya kazi kwa KenGen ulilainisha. Na wakati umekuja kwa Ministry of Education unajaribu kulainisha. Swali langu ni kuuliza katika upande wa elimu mambo ya pesa ile inapeanwa ni budget haijatosha ama budget imetosha, kwa sababu tumeona shule nyingi mambo ya competition imeselewa na unakuta kuna pesa inatakiwa kama mambo ya emergency na upepo unakuta shule nyingi haijapanda miti. Sijui kama uko na uhusiano na wasiri wa upandaji wa miti ndio shule zote siweze kupandwa miti juu ya climate change. Kwa sababu wakati upepo imekuja kama county zingine kama Embu County, upande wa Mbeere South na Mbeere North, upepo ilikuja ikachukua madrasa ingine ikaenda Mapati. Sasa hii watoto wanateseka kama Karura na Gatete Primary School. Mpaka imefika mimi nimeomba pesa kidogo, nimekuwa huko jana. Wale watoto wametoka pale wamewacha shule, ni wakati wanaenda kufanya mtihani. Sasa hii wanaenda hata kuanza kufanya kazi zingine haieleweki.
What is your question?
Swali langu ni kutaka kujua shule kama hizo, wasiri wa elimu utaweza kusaidia ile shule ya Gatete namna gani na shule hii ya Karura ndio iweze kupata mapati ingine ama innovation ya pesa ile ya emergency. Ama ni pesa ya nje kupatia pesa. Asante Bwana Speaker.
Senator Abbas.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my question is that, this country seems that we are not even prepared for the CBC program. If you go to my place, Wajir, and even the other areas related to, Mandera and Garissa, the situation is actually pathetic, especially in terms of infrastructure. Now that the grade 9 are going for exams, and there's no one single labs and classes even are not there. They are very rare classes. Very few classes. Waziri, TVETs, technical schools, places. No equipment. They're all up to now not operational. When you ask them what is happening, they're being told that the equipment are being waited from China, but I don't know where it is coming from. The students are there. Some of them don't even have the student, and they're not operating. One other thing is that there was infrastructure development with the World Bank, the Kenyan government and the World Bank been done sometimes for the last 3 years, 4 years. Up to now, most of the contracts have not been paid. What happened? Why was this money not paid? Where is this equipment that you're waiting from, I don't know, from China or wherever, that the TVETs have not been open? The CBC don't have classes in my place. There are very few classes, 1 or 2 classes. And the students just became too many. The entire Kenyans are now exiting.
Senator Abbas, what is your question?
My question is, why was this not, this is problem, the SICIP program, money has not been paid.
Good.
And the TVETs have not been
equipped. Hillary, you've asked your question, Senator Abbas.
Yeah, I'm saying the TVETs are not also equipped. So what is the situation?
Senator Wakili Hillary.
Thank you, Mr.
Honorable Senators, let us avoid speeches. Straight, direct to your question. That way we'll save a lot of time and allow many senators to ask questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will avoid any speech. On my question, supplementary to the question by Senator Gataya, is the basis upon which the ministry permits additional registers and not even fit for habitation, and two, whether the CS is able to give us statistics of the institutions which require special attention, like the ones which Senator Mwenda Gataya has requested, as well as others across the country, including even in the county of Bomet. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kathuri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we are really constrained to ask a direct question because sometimes we build your case so that you can be able to ask the question. Honorable Speaker, because we have really struggled in this country in the Ministry of Education. Since I joined Parliament in 2013, we have only one chair of Education Committee, Member of Parliament for Tinderet, Mary. For now, almost 15 years, we have not been able to sort that mess, regardless that he has been there for 15 years. That is historic. You know, he has the memory of the institution for almost now this 13th year, and we have not been able to sort education issues. Every time they summon the CS in the Committee of Education in the Royal House, they are still struggling. You can see that committee is really struggling to address issues on education. So, Mr. Speaker, that is why the Senate can be able to handle these issues if the CS can give us time to engage him. The Committee on Education and other leaders like us can be able to do a lot for the Ministry of Education. So, Mr. Speaker, like now, for example, we are going to the close of the CDF in June 30th this year. And still, CDF has been supporting schools, including the Raka where Senator Mofaya comes from. And they have not been able to manage the infrastructure of those schools. So I'm asking the CS, now after the CDF goes, what strategy, CS, do you have to do infrastructure in those schools? Because now CDF has been supporting you, and CDF is going. Also, what will you do? Number two, as the Speaker, you know the free primary and secondary education in some certain budget.
Honorable Senator, you know, in our standing orders, you're entitled to ask one question only.
Honorable Speaker, during check on the candidate, let me ask this one. This is the last one.
I'm afraid our standing orders do not recognize.
Maybe at some point, during check is not recognized in this Senate.
Conclude, Honorable Senator, conclude.
Honorable Speaker, it is because of these bursary funds. Like now, the money with the MPs is almost 15 billion. So how much money do you need the CS to give the capitation in full or to deliver free primary and secondary education? Can we move all these bursaries from these other, from the MPs, from GAF, from the county governments, and give you all that money so that you can distribute directly to schools? Do you feel you can be able to do that so that we don't pay all these funds to come to the ministry and then you give all the schools free primary and secondary education? Thank you, sir.
Senator Catherine Mumba.
Thank you, Speaker. Honorable CS, my question takes into account the fact that bulk of the education function is with the national government. And it also takes into the account that in the last 3-4 months, we have been discussing the multiple parallel programs around education by CDF, by yourselves, by the President, by philanthropists, Wing to Fly, by governors, by others. The question is the national government deliberately doing something to audit all funding that we have in these multiple streams with a view to streamlining and consolidating these funds to ensure that they are better used for delivery of the right to education in an equitable manner to all students in Kenya?
Senator Consolata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. my question is pegged on the implementation challenges in regard to funding gaps, infrastructure challenges, and teacher gaps. We are in a world of technology, that is a techno-savvy season, and I would like to pose this question to the CS, that what strategies does the government have to invest in technology, or rather in the digital infrastructure in regard to the computers, labs, workshops, and anything in relation to that. In regard to CBE, we need the compliance to the infrastructure that will be laid. And finally, still to the infrastructure, I would like to ask, what strategy does the government have in regard to occupation safety and health frameworks to ensure reasonable safety, hygiene, and security measures to protect the learners and the workers in the institutions? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Senator Consolata allowed you to get away with that, but according to our standing orders, you're entitled to ask only one.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Miraj.
Asante Bwana Spika. Swali langu kwa waziri ni kumuuliza, inakuwaje kwamba tunaona mijengo mipya inaendelea kujengwa ya mashule, ili hali shule ambazo zipo tayari ziko katika hali mbaya, hali ambayo imedorora. Nikipiga mfano wa shule ya Jamvi la Wageni pale Likoni na shule ya Peleleza, inakuwaje kwamba watoto wanaendelea kupata majibu duni kutoka Pwani na bado tunaendelea kukubali mifuko ya hazina ya CDF na mifuko mengine mengi kuendelea kuleta mijengo mipya ili hali ile iliyopo iko katika hali ngumu? Je, tunataka kuendelea na mviringo wa matokeo duni, ama tunataka kuwasaidia watoto wetu wawe watoto ambao wana maono mazuri na msingi mwema katika maisha yao? Asante Bwana Spika.
Senator Joyce Korir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Could the Ministry of Education come up with a policy that regulates the mushrooming of these schools and instead focus on improving the existing infrastructure?
Senator Boni.
Mr. Speaker, I'm a little bit worried about the 33,000 primary schools where this facility has have been constructed. According to data from the ministry has got a total of 35,570 primary schools in this country, of which 11,000 are private, meaning the ministry has got 23,000 primary schools. So if the minister has constructed classrooms in 33,000 schools, it means a whooping 10,000 are ghost schools. Minister, what is the reliability of your answer? And if it is true, you stand by the fact that you have constructed in 33 primary schools, which are these 10,000 ghost primary schools? And I'm on the page. I'm on your page at the ministry that I'm referring to.
Honorable CS, you have 5 minutes to respond. Proceed.
Let me start with the question of Senator Kalwale quickly. We've constructed 23,000 classrooms, not in 23,000 schools. Some of the schools required 4 classrooms, others 5, others 2, depending on the streams that they had. Each classroom required to hold 45 students. So it's not like we've done 23,000 classrooms in 23,000 schools. Now, the specific question from Tharakanidhi is that we've done 218 classrooms, and it is true that we noticed that mud walled institutions, and as a ministry, we sent a team there to do an analysis, and that has come back, and now we are working towards ensuring that out of the resources we have, some of them will be allocated to some of those schools, because it would have to be done like an affirmative action. This is because for the last few years, no infrastructure or no development had taken place in that particular area, and we are doing something about it. That's why we sent a team there, and I think the leaders did a letter with the specific schools that needed support, and something is being done about. But we've already done, so far, 218 classrooms in that place. With respect to Senator Mundi, to ensure that all our schools have trees planted, and this is an exercise that is done continuously and would be continuing to do it in those areas. But as a ministry, we do not have an emergency kitty where, for example, in situations where roofs are blown off, we can quickly go into that kitty and release resources for those schools. The only way is for the money to come from the infrastructure fund, and if that infrastructure resource is not given, like it wasn't given for the last previously 2 years, then the ministry's hands are tied to be able to handle those emergencies. Senator Abbas's question, they were in two parts. We did have classrooms done in Wajir, 189 classrooms, Mandera 175, and Garissa 132. So some classrooms have been done there. If there are others that need to be done, as I said, as enrollment increases, we are continuing to work towards ensuring that we have infrastructure in these institutions that cover and that are adequate for the students. On the issue of the TVETs that are supposed to be equipped, it is government policy that each constituency has a TVET institution. So far, we've done 252 TVETs in those constituencies, and some of them are very well equipped, and others are awaiting equipment that has been ordered from China. And you know the process of getting these grants, getting those loans, and then getting the equipment here takes time. But some of those are already allocated, or they are listed awaiting those particular equipment to come depending on the area of specialization, and then they will be delivered to those. So something in that space is also being done to ensure that our TVETs are equipped sufficiently to be able to support the enrollment that we are doing currently. Indeed, as a government, we've now had a policy to increase the enrollment of our TVET trainees from the 297 that were there in 2022 to the 700,000 we have currently, to 2 million, hopefully by the end of 2026, so that we can be able to put or to take as many of our young people into those institutions as possible. To Wakil Hillary's question, my learned friend, the additional registration statistics, when we already have these institutions that are not well taken care of. In the verification exercise that we are undertaking currently, part of the information that we are collecting is the number of students in each of those institutions and the status or the state in which those institutions are. This is the information that now will be able to give us data to enable the government make a policy on whether some of those schools have got any basis to remain registered, whether we will move some of those students from one school to another, so that we can have institutions that are optimal in terms of having the right number of teachers and the right number of students. So we are doing something about that, because previously that exercise had not been done. Applications used to come to the ministry on the basis that there is a school that needs to be registered, and if it met the criteria, then the registration was done. But over time, we've noticed that some of those institutions, and the statistics we're getting, is that some of the schools that we have less than 10 students. You have a school with less than 10 students, maybe with 5 teachers, so it is not optimal. And that is why we are doing this verification exercise, in order to give us the opportunity to interrogate the things or the schools that we have, the institutions that we have, whether some of them will remain or they'll be merged and some will be separated. So we are doing something in that space as well. The question of CDF and the fact that the CDF is now undergoing that process of, it might not be out or it might be there. But if for any chance CDF is not there, then the funds that CDF now is using for purposes of supporting the ministry would request that that then fund would be allocated to the ministry in order for the ministry to continue doing the infrastructure and the bursaries that the CDF is doing. However, part of the exercise that we are doing at the moment and we think that we need to do is we want to, just like we're undertaking the verification exercise, we want to undertake an audit of all the money that is utilized in the sector, in terms of all the bursaries that are given by various institutions, by various donors, by various government agencies, so that we can get a figure to know how much is it exactly are we spending in the sector for education. So that compared, we can then analyze to find out with the number of learners that we have, if we pulled all these resources together, can we then have a completely free education for our children? Because to date, there is nowhere you can get the total figure, other than the 702 billion that the government allocates in the budget. There is no other center where you can get a centralized figure to say this is the amount of money that is being utilized totally in the education sector. So we want to do an audit first, then that audit will be able to give us the data that we require to push for probably the consolidation of all these amounts into one kitty, and then we have that kitty running the sector. So it's is work in progress. It's a conversation that we'll need to all have to see how we sort out that problem, because as the senator here has said, these are problems that have been there for a very long time, and we've really not gotten the answers to them, and we are trying to find out what is the best way to do this in order to ensure that we resolve the financial challenges that face this sector. So we are doing something about it as well. And also, to Senator Consolata's question, we are undertaking a new platform in the ministry called CHEMIS, because we want this ministry to have one single center or one single source of truth. We want every module, everything that happens in the sector, to have a module in that system, so that we can collect and link what we are doing and we can see each other. For example, if you have 12 million students, when you are buying books or supplying books for a subject, that subject should only have 12 million books, for example. Because we do not normally have a situation where it is this information is at the same center. You would find perhaps when you have 5 million students, you are supplying 7 million books. So that there is a gap, and there is a waste of resources that needs now to be utilized optimally. So we are doing something, utilizing data, utilizing AI to ensure that going forward, we are able to utilize the resources that are available in the digital sector to make decisions that are data-based, that are evidence-driven. And to Senator Miraji's question, it is true that there, because of this disconnect, where one arm is not seeing the other, we are finding things happening that otherwise, if we were operating not in silos, would be much more optimal in the utilization of the resources that we have. This is why we are saying we want to come up with that particular platform, so that even if you are a donor or you are somebody doing anything for the education sector, you plug in into the module, and the ministry and the government can see what you are doing, including feeding of children and all the other activities that take place by individuals in the sector. Policy to regulate them. Yeah, the policy is the same thing that I think I've explained. Senator Joyce had requested whether we have a policy to bring all these things together, and we are working on it. It's the same question that I think I've responded to. Thank you.
Honorable Senators, we'll move to question number 101 by the Senator for Bomet County, the Honorable Wakili Hilary Sigei. Honorable Senator, you may proceed to ask your question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also want to thank the CS for availing a response to the question which I'm straight away going to ask. This is question number 101. Question 101A, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a detailed assessment of the current state of infrastructure at Bomet University College and disclose the status of all ongoing infrastructural development projects for lecture halls, workshops, hostels, and other essential academic and support facilities? 101B, what steps has the ministry taken to ensure that the college has adequate and suitable land to meet its current and future development needs? And could the Cabinet Secretary specifically indicate whether consideration can be made for acquisition of parcels of land from the neighboring institutions? And question 101C, could the Cabinet Secretary disclose the current status of the process for granting a charter to Bomet University College and provide the projected timelines for the conclusion of this process? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Honorable CS, your written response is fairly long. You may wish to paraphrase it in the interest of time. You may proceed. It's already been circulated to all honorable senators. So
Yes,
you may
Mr.
just
Speaker, I'll
paraphrase.
try and do that. With respect to question number 101A, the assessment of the current status of Bomet University infrastructure, you will find that under paragraph 35, attachment number B, you see 1. And in that attachment, you will see the number of the lecture rooms that the institution has. There's item and then there's number. You can leave the capacity and the size. And we have a total of 58 in terms of lecture rooms, lecture theaters, assembly, auditorium, science laboratory, demonstration farms, workshops, micro-teaching, lab, GIS lab, and computer lab. There are total infrastructure of 58. In terms of what is currently being undertaken in terms of infrastructure by the college, the number is indicated in attachment number B, you see 2. But basically, the projects that are being undertaken as we speak include the tuition block, which is at 98% complete. Then we have the library block, is at 95% complete. We have the multipurpose hall, it's at 92% complete. We have hostels that are at 4% complete. We have civil works around the college that are 65% complete. There's the borehole drilling, elevated tank, service tank, and reticulation is at 60% complete, and the research center is at 91% complete. All right? There is a figure there that is indicated under paragraph 39. Now, on the proposed construction of the block, the administrative block, lecture theater, and associated works, you would find that the administration block is currently at 98% complete, having utilized a total of 120 million out of the 137 allocated. And then the project that has been allocated 55 this financial year in order to cover the shortfall that is remaining, and 40 million is supposed to come from the government, while 15 million will be sourced from A&A. The proposed construction of the extension of the ablution block, the works are at 91% done at a total cost of 11.9%. The amount already paid is 6 million. There's a balance of 5 million, which has been budgeted for, and that project is also ongoing. The steps that the ministry has taken to ensure that the college has adequate and suitable land. Now, the details on the table there indicate how much land the university already has. And the university in Bomet town itself has a total of 56.5 acres of land. That is those three particular blocks. One is 4.7 hectares, another one is 15.7, and the other one is 2.5 hectares, making a total of 56.5 acres when you convert. They also have another 44 hectares, equivalent of 108.7 acres in a place called Sigor. However, the university is also discussing with the following institutions in order to expand the land, that is St. Michael's Secondary School, Imarisha Sacco Grounds, Bomet TTC, and the prison's open land space next to it. But even as they do that, let's just confirm that the institution has sufficient land as per CUE requirements that requires a university to have a minimum of 52 acres. It already has 56.5, as I said, and 108.7 acres. I think the other important part is on the question of the charter. The institution has been working with CUE, and they've gone to, back and forth, last resting with the CUE going there in August this year, on the 19th of August 2025, when the commission visited to find out whether they have met the requirements of the various inspections that the CUE had done, and they have come back with that particular report, and they are currently undertaking an analysis of that report. And it's thus projected that, subject to the positive findings by the Commission for the University Education, the college will be awarded its charter before the end of this year. That will depend on the analysis of the visit by CUE. Thank you.
Thank you, CS. Senator Wakiri, do you have the two supplementary questions?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I have got more than two, but I know I can only be allowed to ask two questions. So I'll ask the two questions in order of their priority. Number one, Mr. Speaker, is on a specific response to paragraph 38 on the works in the projects which were retendered. There is an indication by the response by the Honorable CS under item D on hostels at 4% complete. I think this must be misinformation because I'm a resident of Bomet. I am not aware whether there has been any foundation stone on the hostels within the university other than a budgetary allocation and advert that went out in the mainstream media sometimes back on the affordable housing programs that the university was allocated 800 hostels. Could the CS maybe clarify so that for purposes of public consumption, we indeed get the right information? Secondly, under paragraph 42, on the details of land ownership by the university. I do not know whether the Honorable CS is aware that parcel Kericho-Bomet is a Kericho-Bomet town plot 437 is a subject of an active court case, and whether the ministry is involved in it and options available as regards the protection of the public interest in that particular case that is ongoing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will pass the third question to the Honorable Senator Joyce Korir to ask as a supplementary question. because...
Don't give your tactics.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Otherwise,
Thank
I
you.
might even also not give her the opportunity. Yes, you can answer those two supplementary questions. Yes. Then we take more from the members.
On the question of the hostels being at 4% complete, the information we got is that only the excavations were done, accounting for the figure of 4%. The construction itself has not started. They did the excavations that they've indicated that it's accounting for 4%. On question of the...
Because if indeed the information is that excavation has been done, where? Is it within the institution or elsewhere? I just want the Honorable CS also not to be misled, because this is something that
Wakili, you know, even in court, you don't interrupt the judge. So let us give the CS time to answer your two questions. If you are not satisfied, of course, I'm here to help you out and to sort you. So don't be in any hurry. Honorable CS, you can conclude your two questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That is the information that was applied to us from the university, but what I can then do is write back on the basis of us getting further details on what this 4% comprises. And similarly, we are not aware of the court case relating to Block 437. We'll also do in that indication right, and then we'll write to the senator to, to inform him of what we have found out. Then we can do a follow-up from there. So it is information that we got from the institution itself. Thank you. But we undertake to verify that information.
Tawakili, can that raise at that point, the matter?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I, with a lot of respect, appreciate the responses from the Honorable CS. The CS is my good friend, and so I know he has given the information that is available.
He's your senior, of course.
Yes.
Your senior.
Thank you.
So, CS, I can also advise that, you have your team up to Bomet County. You have the directors of education. Just by a call, they can be able to tell you or ascertain. They can do physical visit to the university and give you a report even by tomorrow so that you can communicate to the senator. Because you have your team, they don't need even to do a lot of letters. The team is on the ground, they can do that work for you. Next is Senator Chalgay. Do you have a supplementary question on this particular question?
Yes. Mr. Speaker, as I ask my supplementary question, it should go on record that the CS did not answer on JSS governance structure. Either he ignored not to answer or he didn't want to. My only supplementary question on this matter, Mr. Speaker, sir, is as much as we are discussing about infrastructure in the universities, what is the current situation of infrastructure in the universities and budgetary allocation, including both infrastructure and industrial action or strikes that we are witnessing in the country among universities, and to give us update on the ongoing strikes by the lecturers across the country. I yield, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Beatrice Akin Ogola.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my question goes to the issue of adequate and suitable land. CS, what measures is the ministry putting in place to ensure that our schools get their titles in order to secure the parcels of land they have? Because this is a recipe for hostilities in the neighborhoods. CS, one of my schools in my home sub-county in Dewa sub-county, a school called Buru Atego, that has no title, and they're ever squabbling, and it looks like the management of the school is not able to finish with the title. Specifically, what are you doing other than the generalities of schools should get titles?
As much as practically possible, Honorable Senators, let us ask supplementary questions, just related to the primary question. Because honestly speaking, I don't know whether the CS has an answer of that school, unless now you are giving him some work to do so that he can report back to you.
Honorable Speaker, with all due respect, I stand guarded, but I needed general measures on titling that they have. I do not think he needs to, he would need to prepare for that because the ministry must have a policy
But
and a way
did you mention
of
a
working.
school in Diwa? Did you
That
mention
was-
a certain institution?
Your Honorable Speaker, that was an illustration to build up onto my concern, Honorable Speaker. I stand guided. But the ministry must have measures that they have in place over titling in schools. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Is it to know that if you do that question specific for tethering to the CS next time? Because I'm trying to have for the other senators who ask questions so that they can get the opportunity also to get their responses. Okay, fine. Fine, Senator Beatrice. Senator Sifuna Edwin.
You know, Mr. Speaker, this morning has been an illustration of just how incomprehensible this government runs its affairs. You have a cabinet secretary who cannot ask for a photograph of that excavation that has been done at Bomet. He's just listening to stories and telling us he will write letters.
Give guidance.
Yeah, it is good that you gave that
Sifuna.
guidance, but we must continue to express outrage, Honorable Speaker.
Can you
This
now
is not
ask-
how to run a government.
Can you now ask your question?
Yeah, my question is related to something that, Honorable Speaker, I will not allow to be heckled.
As
today.
under Senator Chaligei, you're out of order. I gave guidance on that matter and that should be list.
In fact, the senator who is heckling me himself.
Don't
has
listen to the
no,
Senator.
No, no,
Just
no.
proceed and ask your question, Senator.
He has
Sifuna.
also expressed
Senator
frustration
Chigai,
that-
I'll draw out right away out of this chamber.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, can I proceed?
Proceed.
Because he has also expressed frustration that the CS has not answered his questions. Even for me, I am not satisfied with the answers that are being given. But let me say this. I pity the senator for Bomet. He is focusing on infrastructure. He is focusing on lecture halls, workshops, and all these other things. We have all these things at the University of Nairobi. The lecturers at the universities are on the third week of strike. Honorable Speaker, education is not just about these things we build. It is a whole sort of ecosystem that you build together. When will this government start respecting proceeds of legal processes such as collective bargaining agreements? What is the latest problem? Can the CS tell us today? Why are the lecturers on the streets for 3 weeks? And the students have told us, Honorable Speaker, that if the matter is not resolved today, they will join the strike. What is going on? First year students have reported to the universities, Honorable Speaker, there are no classes. They are also on the streets. What sort of government is this?
Senator Sifuna, you know I directed that we ask questions related to the primary question. You know that is a very pertinent issue you are raising, which even can stop this house from proceeding in the afternoon. And I request even you just adjourn the house. You have those powers. We discuss that matter comprehensively.
No, the CS is here. Don't protect him. Let him answer these questions from the representatives of the people. And even Senator Cherargei asked about the strike. These are correlated matters.
CS proceed and
Let him
answer
tell us
those
if we are
2,
safe
3
or the
questions.
students will be here. He is here. This government is overprotected by the speakers in this house. Let him answer the question.
Senator
I'm here.
Sifuna,
I
you're out
will-
of order.
Your Speaker,
You know,
Mr.
I'm
Speaker.
always very lenient with you. Now you are trying to test my coolness. So,
Mr. Speaker, I'll attempt to answer those questions. On the question of infrastructure, of course, we have deficiencies in infrastructure funds, and we have a lot of uncompleted projects in our institutions. The ministry, in the Department of Higher Education alone, requires close to 9 billion to be able to complete the stalled projects. These resources are not available, and we keep lobbying, so to speak, the National Treasury so that we can get as much resources as possible to undertake the construction of those particular structures. Your second question was on the strikes, and I'll answer them together with Senator Sifuna's concern. But I just wish to state that earlier I provided a response on the JS governance by referring to the Working Party recommendations and the fact that the bills are undergoing the processes that are required in order for them to be submitted eventually to Parliament, where they would then have legislative powers. Senator Beatrice's question on the titles, we've recommended and we've requested the institutions that do not have, I'm answering that question, I'm coming to it. The institutions that do not have titles, we've recommended and requested them to work with the ministry where they have difficulties, and we will work with the Ministry of Lands to ensure that all our institutions have titles in order to protect them from land grabbing. So that is a policy. We discovered that they had some challenges, and therefore we decided to support them through the AG and also through the Ministry of Housing and Lands to ensure that each and every institution has its land titles. Now you ask why the lecturers are on strike. The lecturers are on strike precisely because of three different issues arising from three different CBAs. The first issue was the CBA of 2021-2025, for which they went on strike last year, and we had a negotiation and a return to work formula. Under that return to work formula, in the year 2024-25, 4.3 billion was supposed to be paid to them to cover months to June 2025. That 4.3 billion was paid. The next amount that was to be paid was 2.73 billion for the financial year 25-26, and this was supposed to be paid in July 2025. That is the amount that delayed, and because of that delay, they issued a strike notice. 2 days into that notice, the 2.73 billion was paid. Under the 2021-25 CBA, the balance of 2.73 billion is to be paid in June 2026. So far as the CBA for 2021-2025 is concerned, the issues have been addressed. The second issue that they raised in order for them to issue that strike was on the CBA of 2017-2021. Under that CBA, they argued 24 million. So there is a question of how much is outstanding between what the unions are asking for and what the government is saying is owed. So because of that, the teams went to court, and the court ordered that the strike be injected, and they go to a conciliator and have this amount verified, after which the settlement of it can be agreed on. So there is an order stopping the strike, which you can submit. The third issue that they raised is the issue of the CBA of 2025-2029. We had agreed that this CBA needs to be negotiated at the beginning of the cycle. The beginning of the cycle, of course, is 2025-2026. So we have from June to June 2025 to June 2026. That's the cycle of these negotiations. The negotiations begin, they are concluded, and then the CBA is signed for the cycle of 2025-2029. They were saying that this cycle has not begun, it has delayed. But they've been having meetings, they've had 2 meetings so far. So in essence, there hasn't been a delay. So the negotiations and discussions are going on to see the real point of what the issue is. But this country being what it is, the facts are crowded in the noise. So anyway, short and long of it is that the negotiations are ongoing, and we are going to have a court appearance on the 6th of October to confirm whether that conciliation process has taken place and what the outcome of it is. But the real issue is the 2017-2021 CBA, in which the verification of how much money is due in order for us to move to the next stage of how it is going to be settled is what is pending. So that is the reason why the lecturers are on strike, and I submit.
Honorable CS, maybe also advise that you give the same information. You have communicated to the country, yes, but when there is an issue, the best thing is to communicate so that Kenyans can be able to know what is happening.
Thank you.
So we go to the next question by the Senator for Kilifi County, Senator Justice Mazar. Question number 102.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have a few questions to the Cabinet Secretary. Number 1, what are the key factors contributing to the high school dropout rates among girls in Kilifi County, particularly those affected by poverty, early pregnancies, and domestic caregiving responsibilities? Number 2, why does Kilifi County continue to face challenges in ensuring that pregnant and parenting girls return to school despite the existence of supportive policies and programs? Number 3, what specific interventions has the Ministry of Education implemented to address these challenges and support girls at risk of dropping out of school in Kilifi County? D, how is the ministry collaborating with the parents, local chiefs, school boards, and non-governmental organizations to overcome the socio-cultural barriers that hinder girls' education? And finally, Mr. Speaker, allow me to ask this final question, is what measures has the ministry put in place to promote and integrate community-based support system such as mentorship programs, counseling services, and local partnership to enhance retention and re-enrollment of vulnerable girls in schools? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS can respond to those questions.
Mr. Speaker, question 101A. Mr. Speaker, the cases of girls dropping out of school in Kilifi County have been the result of a number of factors, including poverty, that leads to school-going children to resort to work instead of education, and making them vulnerable to early pregnancies, which undermine their academic progression. According to the National Council for Population Development, The case of teenage pregnancies in Kilifi County stood at 9,000. $578 in 2019. Some of the factors are vulnerable. The other causes include inadequate parental guidance, inadequate parental involvement in the lives and education of their children, inadequate community awareness and involvement in the fight against sexual and gender-based violence and incest, which sometimes goes unreported, poverty and parental inability failure to provide basic needs for their children, poor leadership on children protection rights, and negative peer influence and pressure. Because of the multifaceted interventions by the national and county government and other actors such as Plan International, UNICEF, and TICO, the number of teenage pregnancies in Kilifi has reduced to 6,545 in 2024. Indeed, the National Council for Population and Development has identified Kilifi County as one of the success stories in the fight against teenage pregnancies. We continue to implement interventions to ensure that these cases become a thing of the past, but eliminating these cases is a key to achieving a primary to secondary transition rate of 100% from the current 99.16%. Kilifi has a transition rate of 99.16%. 102B, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, implements the National School Reentry Program, which allows teenage mothers to return to school after childbirth. The implementation of this policy, however, has faced challenges such as low parental awareness, general poverty, which makes teenage mothers resort to work, as I've indicated, to provide for their offspring, and the lack of childcare services. 101C, Mr. Speaker, our interventions have included the following. 1, implementing the 100% transition policy and working with local administration to ensure that all persons of school-going age are in schools. This current transition rate in Kilifi County stands at 99.16%. The provision of Elimu scholarship and Wings to Fly scholarships to support vulnerable girls, a promotion of menstrual hygiene support to help reduce school absenteeism and teen pregnancies, strengthening guidance and counseling and life skill programs in schools, conducting gender sensitization and awareness programs in schools to help with that reduction. Mr. Speaker, may I be allowed to answer D and E together? The ministry collaborates with local leaders through community engagement, NGOs, which work with the ministry to also actively involve parents, chiefs, and village elders in discussion and program implementation to foster community-wide understanding of the importance of girls' education. In collaboration with partners, we also organize capacity building forums where local leaders and community members are trained and empowered to become advocates for girls' education, thereby helping them to change perceptions and address resistance to girls attending schools. During annual general meetings, Mr. Speaker, in schools, ministry officials sensitize parents and guardians on the importance of girl-child education. In addition, schools' boards of management are inducted on these matters as well. Our approach emphasizes community-based support through mentorship programs, and local leaders such as chiefs are involved in mopping up the girls who have dropped out of school to re-enroll. I submit.
Minority Leader, do you have any supplementary question? Okay, good. Senator Sifuna Edwin.
Speaker, again, this parliament has equipped the government with legal mechanisms to deal with some of these programs or these problems. Firstly, Honorable Speaker, it is still a crime in this country to engage in sexual relations with any person below the age of 18 years. My expectation, therefore, would be, if the ministry tells us that there are 6,545 cases of teenage pregnancy, which is still a crime, they should show us commensurate numbers of prosecutions. Not these stories here of sensitizing the community. Because, Honorable Speaker, under Article 2 of the Constitution, even if you want to hide behind customary law, it says any law, including customary law, that is inconsistent with this Constitution is void to the extent of that inconsistency. My question to the Minister, CS, how many people have been prosecuted in Kilifi for the offense of statutory rape under your leadership?
Especially girl child. A few weeks ago, Mr. Speaker, there was a case of prayers for food. Mr. Speaker, what is the ministry doing, apart from these challenges, to address the issue of school feeding program, not only in Kilifi, where children have to shout, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, for them to get something to eat, Mr. Speaker? What is the ministry doing to ensure that every child from Nairobi, Kilifi, Meru, Nandi, and across the nation accesses proper school feeding programs so that they can be able to be attentive in class, and also the transition and turnout, Mr. Speaker? And finally, he should give us the numbers of how the interventions, are they working in collaboration with Ngao so that they ensure 100% transition rate of our children, Mr. Speaker? I yield.
Senator Abdulrahman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My question to the CS is the CS aware that Kenya is ranked second globally as the leading country with child parents globally? 2, is he agreeing with me that young parents or child parents are a constituency in itself, and that the Children Act cannot be a remedy to the disease that we are facing as a country, and that it is time for the ministry to speed up and help I, as the sponsor of the child parent, the care and protection of child parents bill, so that we speed it up at the National Assembly for concurrence, so it becomes an act, so that it remedies all that is happening within our counties. Given that Kilifi is no longer the leader in child parents, the statistics given by Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, it is that the Ma community is now leading with child parents.
Can you give the question, or do you need to be assistant to know?
My questions are 3.
No, you can't ask.
In one, no. I'm asking the CS if you are
to know the
Mr. Speaker, I'm asking the CS if he agrees that the problem that we are facing, given that we are ranked second globally with children with child parents' children. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the CS has said that the ministry has provisions for Elimu and Wings to Fly scholarships. Could he be in a position to give the list of names of those students in Kilifi who have benefited from these Wings to Fly? And secondly, maybe on the side of the promotion of menstrual hygienic support, these female girls, to the girls, would he be kind enough to name the schools where they have been supplied to? Thank you.
Now, CS, we start with the owner of the question, Senator Mazayo. Then you respond to the others. In just a minute, Senator Beatrice, let us first get the response. We have like 10 minutes to conclude with the CS education.
To Senator Masao's supplementary question, we do not have the data right here with us, but we undertake to supply that data on the Elimu and Wings to Fly scholarships, on the names and the beneficiaries of the students from Kilifi, and also the schools to which these facilities for ministerial support have been supplied to. So we undertake to do a letter and submit that report to you. To Senator Sifuna's question on the number of cases that have been prosecuted, this is to inform the Senate that the cases are prosecuted by the DPP, and we do not have the numbers as we speak, but we can get in touch with the DPP and supply the data to the Senate of the cases that they are currently undertaking relating to the sexual offenses and teenage pregnancies of the children across the country, including Kilifi. So we undertake to supply that particular data because it wasn't really part. On the question of, I think Cheralgai did ask the question on access to food. Currently, the government is having a school feeding program where we are feeding 2.6 million children across the country. But statistics indicate that we need to be able to feed up to 10 million children. But the resources and the budget is not available to meet that number, and we keep enhancing that number, and we'll continue working with the government to ensure that that number increases to the 10 million target. With respect to the issue of the school feeding program and religion in Ganze that was highlighted, that particular project and program is under investigation as we speak, but the government has stopped that particular sponsor from continuing to supply or to feed the children in that particular area until we get to the bottom of the matter. I submit.
The last two questions from Senator Beatrice Akin. Senator Sifuna, your answer has been given. We just wait for the... Senator Sifuna, I think we are really digressing on these issues. When the CS commits, actually what we should ask is when. CS, when will you provide that list? From both Mazayo, Senator Mazayo, and the list from Senator Sifuna of the prosecutions.
Mr. Speaker, in 7 days' time. May I answer the question to... We as a government...
The commitment on the
yes,
list?
7 days, within 7 days.
Okay, fair enough. Question from Senator Miraj?
Yes, for Senator Miraj, we as a government will support any initiative and any particular program that will protect our children. So we'll work with you to give you the necessary support for that bill.
Senator Beatrice?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on the issue of the...
You know, we ask only one supplementary question, Minority Leader. Thirty seconds. And my Minority Leader, you are not there to direct the chair on what to do.
Speaker, you know you...
You are the minority side, but not to direct the Speaker. You are not my Minority Leader. You lead your team, not the chair.
Speaker, I would pray that you don't get upset because this is a very delicate conversation we're having. Actually, the point that I wanted to make is the Ministry of Education is a custodian of our children. knowing what happens in some of these areas, you might not find a complainant. Our expectation is that the ministry is a complainant. The ministry has figures, 6,000 teenage pregnancies in Kilifi. They are the custodians of the data of the victims. So for somebody to refer us to the DPP, Honorable Speaker, is to be disingenuous. They should be the ones actually being the complainants in these cases. That is the point that I wanted to make. The minister is trying to run away. They are the ones, if they have the data of the victims, how can they not have the data of the perpetrators? Unless this ministry doesn't understand how pregnancies occur.
That's Funa. But he has 6,500 pregnancies, early pregnancies. I think the figures are not accurate because like Meru, we have a serious problem. Yesterday I saw Meru is reading in this thing. So the figures, you need to also confirm the figures and give us the list because it's higher than 6,000.
That's just for Kilifi.
Senator Bitri.
Honorable Speaker, I was amazed that my SG is talking about a way in which pregnancies occur. I only know of one way, but that is besides the point, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, that is besides the point. My point back to this question, Honorable Speaker, on the dropout rates, and especially, particularly those affected by poverty. My question then to the Honorable CS is that, does the ministry have specific affirmative measures that they put in place for the urban poor? Honorable Speaker, I'm mentioning the urban poor because their challenges are peculiar to other areas. Honorable Speaker, when you look at the hierarchy of needs, it would not matter that somebody would be looking for education if they cannot get food to eat. So I'm asking the CS, what measures do they have to address, in addressing the urban poor challenges, especially in our country? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Consolata Naubwile.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is on the low retention and dropouts, school dropouts. Especially in Bungoma County, which is due to abject poverty, menstrual hygiene, and many other related cases. I would like to ask the CS, Buonamigos, to substantiate the fact about the implementation of the Children's Act 2022 that protects the best interest of the child in regard to provision of free primary education, secondary education, and care and protection. Because so many school-going children are suffering in Bungoma because of the laid down reasons, and there is also a lot of SGBV that is prevalent in Bungoma County. So kindly help us understand the strategies that the ministry has put in place to curb this anomaly. I submit.
CS, answer those two questions as we conclude.
The strategies to increase and retain a high number of retention of children in schools will include the provision of school feeding programs in those areas, in those poor areas. We also have boarding schools, low-cost boarding schools that we encourage to allow the children to be in boarding institutions, and provision of bursaries to those parents or to those homes that are needy. That helps with the retention across the country, whether it is in Kilifi or Bungoma. and even...
I know peculiar challenges. Are there any affirmative measures and networks that could assist? So does the ministry have specific measures specific to the urban? If no,
I was just consulting, but school feeding, we do it, they retain the students the same way, the children the same way, whether it is in the rural areas or in the urban. When we give bursaries, it is the same thing. When we provide for the sanitary, it is the same thing. So what we're just saying...
You know, that's not how we conduct business, honestly speaking. And if the CS were not satisfied, just visit the office, his office, and discuss issues on the urban poor and the rural poor. Your office is open, I think, CS?
Yes, it is.
Yes, have a cup of tea with the CS and discuss. That is a general thing that can help this country. Yeah. So let us just not pressure.
Thank you.
To get the questions.
We are also...
Now, because actually, if he was prepared, he could have come with that answer, Honorable Beatties. To be fair, either you bring a question or you visit the ministry to discuss with the technical team, give them advice, you know, so that we can help our country. I feel not to give you another chance. So I want to, the chair, Standing Committee on Education, requested for just a minute to give an update on the committee work, and I would want to give you this chance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to thank Honorable CS for appearing before this House this morning. And Mr. Speaker, I would also want to tell the House that the Honorable CS has taken action on a stalemate which has been there. We had 41 pending statements for the ministry, and we had a meeting last weekend, actually a retreat with the ministry, and Honorable CS has committed to work with the committee, and I think that is a concern which a senator had raised here, and I just want to reassure the House that the Honorable CS has committed to work with the committee and is already started. We had our first retreat with him and his team over the weekend in Mombasa, and he committed that the answers which were pending, 41 in number, were going to be answered, and I want to confirm to this House that that has already been done. So I want to sincerely thank the Honorable CS, and I want to ask him to continue with that spirit so that together we can serve the people of Kenya. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So, Chair, in education, there are various issues which can be raised by members. Therefore, since you have that good working chemistry, assist also the members with the questions that they have asked and also the timelines so that we can really be able to move forward. When I spoke to speak, I said that there's another committee at the other house which has failed to unlock a few things which the Senate committee can be able to do. So we are ready to support you. You know, we meet at the liaison. As the chair, I'm ready to support your committee to assist this country on matters of education. Want to thank
I wanted to just reassure you, Mr. Speaker, that I believe that the CS is in a position to actually sort us out as a Senate. Thank you.
Honorable CS, thank you very much for your time and for answering these very many questions. Don't tire to respond to the Senate. The Senate is a house of reason. we can be able to assist this country in a very big way, even unlocking those the support you need in the budgets. We're almost there now, so that Senate also can participate in the budget-making process. And I know, I'm aware, we must achieve that. So thank you very much for coming this morning, and all the best in your endeavors.
Thank you, members. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm grateful. And may I say something, Mr. Speaker, before
Yes,
I go?
please.
Let me
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I must also take this opportunity to welcome the Honorable CS for Tourism to this House. Honorable Speaker, I will move straight away to the question. And the question number A. What is the current status of the tourism sector in Kenya, and how do recent trends in tourism arrivals compare between domestic and international visitors? P. What factors have contributed to the recent decline in international tourism arrivals, particularly in contrast with the performance of other East African destinations? Finally, could the Cabinet Secretary specify the strategies the ministry is implementing to enhance Kenya's global tourism competitiveness, including steps taken to strengthen partnership with the international airlines, promote new tourism products, and leverage digital platforms for marketing? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Madam CS, you can respond.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and honorable members. I wish to respond to question number 066 by Honorable Senator Joyce Korir, MP, and A, the current status of tourism sector in Kenya and how recent trends in tourist arrivals compare between domestic and international visitors. The parameters highlighted below demonstrate a good performance of the sector in 2024 as compared with 2023 figures. In terms of international arrivals, Honorable Speaker, Kenya welcomed approximately 2.4 million international tourists in 2024, marking a 14.6% increase from the 2.089 million international arrivals recorded in 2023. In terms of tourism earnings, the sector's earnings rose to Kenya shillings 454 billion in 2024, reflecting a 19.7% growth compared to the previous year's Kenya shillings 3.77 billion. On cruise tourism, notably, cruise tourism experienced a 163% surge, with 6,561 tourists arriving in 2024, up from 2,490 in 2023. In terms of domestic tourism bed nights occupancy is estimated to have grown by 12%, that is from 4.6 million in 0.1 million travelers Brazilian citizens to participate in domestic tourism. Honorable Speaker, the number of domestic tourists does not include those that stayed in unregistered establishments, and therefore the number of domestic tourists is significantly higher. This strong performance is attributed to a combination of factors, including enhanced air connectivity, the simplification of visa process through the electing efforts between national government, county governments, private sector. There was also focus on new product segments and renewed traveler confidence to Magical Kenya brand. It is worth noting that domestic tourism has played a stabilizing role during global travel downturns. As international travel normalized in 2024, domestic tourism continued to grow, showing that both segments complement each other in building the sector's resilience. Honorable Speaker, question number B, what factors have contributed to the recent decline in international tourist arrivals, particularly in contrast with the performance of other East African destinations? My response is that Kenya did not record a decline in international tourist arrivals in the year 2024. On the contrary, the country posted the highest ever inbound arrivals and earnings in over a decade, and this performance is even better than pre-COVID. The country outperformed many regional peers in key indicators, and in terms of the East Africa community, Kenya recorded the highest numbers. It is worth noting that Kenya has maintained 5th overall position as a tourist destination in Africa, both in 2023 and 2024 consecutively, and position 2 in sub-Saharan Africa, and this is evidenced by the data that is shown in the table in the response, showing that Kenya was a strong number 5. In comparison with other East African destinations, the country has led in international arrivals. In 2024, we had 2.4 million arrivals, followed by the United Republic of Tanzania at 2.1 million arrivals, Mauritius 1.3 million arrivals, Rwanda 1.3 million arrivals, and Uganda 1.3 million arrivals. Kenya was also 4th position in Africa in the countries that surpassed the pre-COVID arrivals by a bigger margin, as demonstrated in the next figure. And you can see that Kenya surpassed pre-COVID figures by 11%. The country also witnessed improvement in the level of foreign direct investments in the tourism sector compared with other African countries, and we have demonstrated that in the figures that are shown there. Therefore, Honorable Speaker and members, Kenya continues to assert its superiority in the regional tourism landscape. This achievement underscores the country's strategic positioning as East Africa's leading tourism hub, driven by its diverse offerings, ranging from world-renowned wildlife, the safaris and pristine beaches at the coast, to vibrant cultural experiences and robust meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions, popularly known as the MICE sector. The country's well-developed tourism infrastructure, consistent international marketing efforts, and commitment to safety and sustainability have further cemented its appeal to global travelers. While at that, to add that the 2025 performance, the indications as of now, is that we continue to have a positive performance in the tourism sector. Question number C asks that we specify the strategies the ministry is implementing to enhance Kenya's global tourism competitiveness, including steps taken to strengthen partnerships with international airlines, promote new tourism products, and leverage digital platforms for marketing. Honorable Speaker, the government has adopted a comprehensive and future-oriented strategy to reposition Kenya as Africa's most appealing tourism destination. The approach is to closely collaborate and partner with other enabling ministries, departments, and agencies, and the private sector, such as travel agents, tour operators, airlines, counties, and even other service providers to grow tourism sector earnings to Kenya shillings 1 trillion annually by the year 2027-2028, with 5.5 million international arrivals and 7.5 million domestic bed nights. The key interventions being implemented are as follows. Number one is strengthening global air connectivity and entry processes. We have seen newly introduced scheduled connections into Kenya by international airlines such as Air Asia, Fly Dubai, Air Indigo, Oman Air, and Brussels Airlines have expanded Kenya's global access points. And just last night, we received the first ever flight direct from Saudi Arabia, and a few weeks ago, the first flight direct from Angola. So this has helped the Open Skies policy with more access into Kenya, not only in Nairobi, but in Mombasa. Number two, the rollout of the electronic travel authorization system in 2024 has streamlined visa issuance and reduced barriers to entry and has made Kenya more visa open. Number three, Turkish Airlines have been granted the necessary licenses to resume flights to Mombasa, Kenya. Currently, we have 7 frequencies per week. This means that tourists using these airlines can fly directly to Moi International Airport in Mombasa from Istanbul. The introduction of the transit visa is also expected to tap into a huge potential market to grow arrivals into Kenya for the short-term visitors who are there during their transit. The Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife is also part of an interagency committee comprising Ministers of Interior, Roads and Transport, and National Treasury, with relevant agencies to continuously improve traveler facilitation and experience at our major points of entry. This culminated to signing of a service charter among all the service providers at JKIA, and we have since seen improved service and better streamlined passenger experiences. The second strategy is product diversification and destination development. Kenya is broadening its tourism offerings beyond the traditional wildlife and beach products. For a very long time, Kenya has almost been boxed into one narrative of safari and beach, but focus is shifting to niche segments such as cultural heritage tourism, adventure tourism, that is actually gaining a lot of traction, biking, hiking, and extreme sports. We have seen medical and wellness tourism, especially targeting African and Asian markets. We have cruise tourism, and like I've said, it saw a huge increase of about 163% growth in 2024, and this signals a revitalized cruise tourism sector in Kenya. We have B-Leisure, business and leisure tourism, that goes together with the MICE, meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibition tourism, which contributed 27% of all tourism arrivals in 2024. A new segment that has come in is education tourism, attracting a lot of education tourism in the region. Sports tourism, Kenya being the home of champions, is attracting quite a lot of tourism in that regard, including athletics, golf, World Rally Championships, and others. We have special occasions and destination weddings, especially at the coast, that is becoming a favorite destination for weddings and honeymoons. And one of the other latest products is agro-tourism. We have seen visitors wanting to see, especially tea and coffee, the product from the farm to the table to the cup, and that is gaining traction. Gastronomy, the whole issue of culinary experience, and halal tourism is also popular. Others are city breaks, event and festivals, and recently during the lunar eclipse, we launched astrotourism, because Kenyan skies have been said to be the VVIP of the cosmos, and many travelers are targeting stargazing and the whole of the sky space, so that we have many more products on offer. However, safari and beach will continue to be key drivers of tourism numbers for Kenya, even as we diversify into other products that Kenya has to offer, and we have elaborated on those products. The country, through the ministry, is also developing and supporting new products and innovations, such as development of viewpoints and observation decks to allow visitors to appreciate the landscapes, such as the Great Rift Valley, mountains and hills, increased investments by global hotel chains across the country, particularly along the Kenyan coast. We have just come back from the Kenyan Coast Investment Conference, and we saw a lot of potential at the coast. We have also world-class mountain climbing, the trekking, hiking, curated man-made attractions to complement the nature-based attractions. We have training and certification of various categories of guides by region and product, and also establishment of tourism product clubs to enhance public-private sector collaboration. Item number 3 is that leveraging digital marketing and smart technologies. Under the Magical Kenya brand, the Kenya Tourism Board has expanded digital footprint, leveraging social media, influencer partnerships, and targeted content to reach high potential markets. Investment in smart tourism platforms, including AI-driven approaches, is ongoing to personalize and optimize visitor experiences. The local youth are being supported to develop tourism-related digital innovations that enhance discovery and also bookings, and we have seen a lot of Kenyan content and creatives in the social media. The Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife is establishing a Youth in Tourism and Conservation Innovation Hub to empower youth as agents of change in the tourism sector. This hub will be a central point for coordinating youth-led tourism initiatives. The other initiatives include supporting MSMEs and job creation in line with the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. The ministry is supporting community-based tourism initiatives, equipping operators, artisans, and guides with training, financing leakages, and market access. And we are working with county governments to bring more rural and peri-urban areas into the tourism ecosystem. MSMEs and youth entrepreneurs are also being empowered to create income-generating tourism services and experiences, and this is in partnership with the relevant ministries. Other policy interventions and initiatives that are ongoing is establishment of national tourism amenities. This initiative involves enhancing tourism infrastructure across all circuits to improve visitor experience, comfort and accessibility, safety, security, and overall sector sustainability. We are also enhancing tourism.
Honorable CS,
yes,
I'll request you to since we already have that presentation,
yes,
to summarize the remainder because members would want to ask questions.
Yes, so the other policies, we have enhanced coastal beach management, capacity building in the tourism sector, strengthening tourism policy, regulatory and governance, under the ongoing review of the tourism bill and the wildlife conservation bill, enhancing safety and security in tourism zones, fostering partnerships and collaborations. Just to summarize that these initiatives are structured to ensure that as tourism grows, it uplifts Kenyan lives across all regions and income levels. And this is the heart of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, which the ministry is implementing. It is my hope that this response will clarify the information that was in this question. And just to summarize that we've had a very good performance in the tourism sector in Kenya. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable CS. Honorable Senators, just to declare a little interest, Honorable CS Rebecca Miano was my classmate, indeed roommate, at the Parklands campus. So, but to indicate, you can see how thorough the brief is, but it is, the members will determine whether she has adequately answered the questions. Honorable Korir, you have 2 more supplementary questions to add, and then the CS can answer.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Allow me to really congratulate the Honorable CS for a very elaborate response to the questions that I raised. Indeed, I want to say that she is trying her best, and it's only that, Honorable Speaker, we still have a long way to go, bearing in mind that the international arrivals are still at 2.4, and the third one, or the fourth one, being at 8.9, and the third one being at 10.2. So we are still far much behind in terms of really making sure that we are at pace with the first countries. But I want to say that indeed she has tried her best. Finally, Madam Speaker, allow me to just have a supplementary question on how is the ministry working with other agencies to counter the negative international perception about the Kenya's safety as a destination. And finally, Madam Speaker, is the issue of whether there is a framework to support small and medium enterprise, SMEs, in tourism value chain. Thank you.
Honorable CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and members. The Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife is working closely with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, with the Ministry of Interior, and other relevant ministries, including the foreign missions, to ensure that the narratives that could mislead our visitors are well countered with factual information and data. I know that we are in consultation with some of the missions of the countries where we have seen either travel advisories or other information that presents our country in a lens that is probably not correct. And this is bearing quite a lot of fruit. A lot has to be done. But also the ultimate is enhanced marketing and to showcase the products that Kenya has. Lately, we have also seen increased endorsement and testimonials from the visitors themselves who come in and then just give a description of what they found in Kenya. We are also conducting exit interviews from our visitors, and we believe that all these efforts are going to change the narrative. We also would like to recognize the effort by His Excellency, who is our Tourism Ambassador 001, in every international forum where he goes. He has a statement about Kenya tourism products, and this has really cemented Kenya's position. And from where we are, the world has noticed what Kenya has to offer. And we have the tourism regulated enterprises that are working together, the tour operators, the Kenya Tourism Federation. All this collaboration and partnership is steadily but consistently bringing the right narrative that Kenya should have. In terms of the MSMEs and opportunities, we have a partnership with the Ministry of MSMEs and Cooperatives to see how we can support eco-tourism, eco-lodges, establishments that are startups, and that is helping. The other support is classification and accreditation of the smaller hotels and establishments so that we can give them the validity to welcome international visitors. We have tourism regulated enterprises which recognize MSMEs in the 9th schedule, such as curio dealers, local boat operators, homestays, among other stays. And if you look at the Kenya Kwanza or the manifesto that the government is implementing, the broad-based government is implementing, there is an undertaking to support at the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the startups. In terms of access to financing, we have organizations like Kenya Development Corporation that offers affordable financing and accessible financing for startups. So in this space, it is one of our focus areas. so that nobody is left behind. I thank you.
Honorable Senators, now we move to questions by Senators. Please remember the rules so that everybody can have a chance. One question per Senator, and go straight to the question so that everybody gets a chance. Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I must acknowledge that that response was a very comprehensive response. But then I was looking for, in the strategies, I did not see a strategy around how to leverage our various diplomatic missions for the purpose of promoting tourism. Madam Speaker, I have had an opportunity.
The question, Senator Osotsi, don't be tempted to go that way.
Madam Speaker, is coming. I had an opportunity to visit a number of very strategic embassies, and I was disappointed that nothing happens in those embassies in relation to promotion of tourism. So my question to the CS is what arrangement is there between her ministry and the Ministry of Foreign Relations on the matter of promotion of tourism in this country?
Two more questions, and then the CS will answer, and then we'll take another final set. Senator Miraj.
Asante Bispika, kwanza nimpongeze waziri kwa kazi nzuri ambayo anafanya, lakini pia niendeleze mjadala ambao tulikuwa nao kule Mombasa wakati tulikuwa tunapokea ile meli ya watalii. Kulikuwa na ile hitilafu ya malipo ya wageni wanapokuja. So wageni wengi walikuwa wanabaki katika meli, wanashindwa kushuka na kutumia senti ambazo wako nazo. Je, kama wizara mmefikia wapi kuona ya kwamba wageni wote ambao wanakuja na zile meli za kitalii wanaweza kushuka bila vikwazo ili tuweze kuzipata zile senti? Asante Bispika.
Senator Eddie Okech.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I do note always when the minister comes here, and I do note this with serious concern, that successive ministries of tourism have over the years not budgeted for for investments in tourism in the Western Kenya region. And this would be, the Western would be Nyanza and the traditional Western counties that, as we know them. And Madam Speaker, even in the presentation that I've seen here, despite being in depth as we have seen, I haven't seen Kenya shillings to Kenya shillings investment and targeted coordination towards this area. So my question is, Madam Speaker, how has this particular ministry included in its development budget funds for Western region tourism, and particularly looking at areas such as Lake Victoria in general, where there is serious maritime opportunity, Ruma National Park in Homa Bay, Mount Elgon, this is in Bungoma County, Webuye Falls, and even in where I come from, Migori County, Thimlichoinga. What are the strategies, and is there a proper coordination of those investment and funds with county government so that as senators we can be able to track and trail that kind of investment to be able to bolster tourism in that area? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
CS, you may answer those, and then we take the next.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. It is true that our diplomatic missions in various countries are the front line or point of access into those countries. And whereas we have trade attachés, we are in our proposals proposing tourism attachés to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But we are cooperating with Kenya missions in scouting for opportunities to participate in tourism expos in those countries to showcase Kenyan tourism products, negotiate bilateral air service agreements, and even MOUs in tourism promotion in those particular countries. We have various forums like the World Trade Market that is held in London every year. We work together with Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the mission in UK to participate, and we are already planning for that. Berlin is another one, and many others. We have also proposed a framework that we have sent to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of closer collaboration, and that also includes using online platforms and a digital tool that we are coming with called Kuza Utalii, where missions can then utilize that to market our country. So we will continue working closely with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and our missions abroad to ensure effective marketing for our country. The next question is about the cruise tourism. And when we welcomed the cruise ships earlier this year, several challenges were identified that stopped visitors disembarking from the vessels and getting into Mombasa and other areas. And the main one was the requirement to apply for an ETA individually on arrival. His Excellency the President did give us a directive that we work with the cruise lines and the Ministry of Immigration so that we utilize the information already available and the manifest, so that by the time they arrive, their immigration documents and the ETAs have been processed, and that will enable them even have already planned tourism circuits the whole day. So Mheshimiwa, tumefanya mengi kutatua hilo changamoto ambalo tulielezwa siku hiyo, na Rais alituamurisha tuhakikishe ya kwamba hayo yametatuliwa. Nina furaha kukujulisha kupitia Wizara ya Immigration hayo yametatuliwa. Na sasa kutoka mwezi wa 10 mpaka mwezi wa 3 ile season ya meli na cruise ship inaanza, na tutatarajia ya kwamba tutapata wageni wengi wakitoka kwa meli kwenda mjini, hata kwenda safari kama ni Savo ama pahali pengine. Asanti. The next question is on the Western Kenya circuit. Last year, in 2024, specifically on 27th of September, which was the UN Tourism Day for 2024, we unveiled 9 tourism circuits across the country. And that included the Western Circuit. The Western Circuit is a very rich tourism circuit. We are working together with the county governments, just because of the devolved functions, to map out the tourism attractions per circuit so that we develop them and be able to market them at the national level using the Kenya Tourism Board and other facilities that we have. In terms of the Western Circuit, we have very, very unique products. And last year, we spent a whole week in the Western Circuit, 1 week towards the end of September. We unveiled and showed the country and the world what there is. And in the month of August this year again, we spent 2 full days at the Ruma National Park, the wide Nyanza area. But I want to say there's still a lot to be done, but we need very close collaboration with the counties, with other ministries, so that we continue packaging the Western circuit properly. So it is part of our circuit, and we are not leaving it behind.
Honorable CS, as you will answer the others, I think Senator Okech, and I take an interest in that area, had asked how much budget your ministry has put for the Western Kenya circuit, but you will answer it as you answer the others. Next set, Senator Cherarke.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mine is a straightforward question. Is there the Ministry of Tourism policy on the use of sportsmen and women? Like, for example, we see Rwanda, whenever Arsenal plays, in their jerseys, it is written, visit Rwanda. I've seen at least when they were running in Tokyo, there was no indication that you should visit Kenya. So what is the partnership, or is there a policy in place? I yield, Madam Speaker.
Senator Faki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First, I wish to commend the CS for the elaborate responses that she has given. And I also want to commend her on the resumption of some of the international flights to Mombasa. I can see Turkish airlines are coming in. Rwanda is also coming in. Uganda is already flying. And I think going forward, we're expecting also maybe British Airways and KLM to be on the queue. However, my question is on regard to the Mamangina waterfront. During your last visit in this chamber, you indicated that plans are underway to hand over the Mamangina waterfront to the county government of Mombasa. How far have you been able to actualize that? Because it's now a big problem for the people of Mombasa, because whenever they want to host their events, they have to run to the ministry for permission to be able to use the Mamangina waterfront grounds. Yet, they belong to the county government of Mombasa. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also join my colleagues to commend the CS for elaborate answers. However, it looks like the minister has focused more on tourism and neglected wildlife. The reason why I'm saying this, Madam Speaker, the people of Elgeyo-Marakwet County along Keria Valley are suffering because of elephants. They have destroyed our mangoes, our oranges, and it looks like there's no budget that has been given to KWS for compensation. So I want to find out from the CS, what plans do you have to ensure the people of Elgeyo-Marakwet County are compensated because the elephants have destroyed the crops, and these are the real bottom, and this is government is bottom up, and we are not assisting those who are in the bottom. What plans do you have, and also to ensure Rimoi National Game Reserve is fenced by the national government in conjunction with the county government of Elgeyo-Marakwet County? Otherwise, we might the elephants might be used as food.
Senator Mandago.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'm just wondering whether the shortage of meat in Elgeyo-Marakwet, while we know very well they are very tasty coats.
Senator Mandago, would you kindly ask your question?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, my question to the Cabinet Secretary is on sports tourism. I see as part of the strategies to expand the menu in tourism is sports tourism. What I would like to know is what is it particularly the ministry is doing in terms of sports tourism in athletics? Because that is what can open up Elgeyo-Marakwet, Nandi, Uasin Gishu, Trans-Nzoia, and Cherangani. And as they do that, Madam Speaker...
It's only one question, please.
I'm still continuing with the question. It's very long, Madam Speaker. I also wanted to ask that in 2018-19, there was provision in the budget under the ministry for feasibility study for a cable car in Elgeyo-Marakwet from Iten to Kabarnet, and that a possibility of being extended all the way to Isiolo. I wanted to know from the Cabinet Secretary whether it is still in plan and what they are planning to do, and also in relation to the elephants. what will
Senator,
happen to the
Senator
mother who
Mandago,
was
I have
killed,
indulged you
by
for
an
2
elephant
questions.
in
Senator,
Ganze?
Senator, CS, you will answer only the 2 questions, the one on the cable car and the one on the sports tourism. Senator Mazayo, I'm told Senator Faki will ask the question for you.
Asante Mr. Kwa niaba ya Senator Mazayo, Mheshimiwa Waziri, kumekuwa na kero la ndovu katika maeneo ya Ganze katika kaunti ya Kilifi. Hata jana kuna mtu mmoja alikanyagwa na ndovu akauliwa jana saa 8. Kwa hivyo kero hilo limeongezeka mpaka sasa wakazi wako tayari kuchukua mishale na mikuki.
Senator Faki, please ask the question.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Je, wizara inachukua hatua gani kukabiliana na kero hili la ndovu, kwa sababu wamekula mimea mpaka sasa wanaua wananchi katika eneo la Ganze, Mheshimiwa Speaker? Asante.
Finally, Senator Consolata, and then the CS can answer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My concern is about 2 recipes for tourism development. And this is about peace and security diplomacy as being key recipes for tourism and wildlife development. I would like Madam CS to tell us about what the ministry has put in place in regard to securing and protecting Kenya's territorial integrity, especially along our borders, because those are the avenues through which most tourists enter into our country. And on the same wavelength, I come from Bungoma County, where we have...
Senator Consolata, you were guided on the rules. It's 1 question. Have you done the question?
I'm guided,
yes,
although it was the same.
No, just 1 question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
That is the rule.
I submit.
Thank you. CS, you have under 7 minutes to answer all those questions.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. In terms of the budget, I don't have the exact figures today, but would be willing to look at that. The next question...
So you can submit that budget in the next 2 weeks?
Yes. The next question was on the partnership that we are having with sportsmen and sportswomen in order to promote tourism. Currently, we have arrangements with the sportsmen and sportswomen to be Kenya's tourism ambassadors, with some of them, for example, Eliud Kipchoge, Faith Kipyegon, and others. We are also supporting them when they go for those events. We go behind with the Magical Kenya brand, including financial support. We have seen that sports tourism is one of the next frontiers in Kenya's tourism. And in that regard, we want to promote actively high altitude training center to the international tourists, encouraging them to come and interact with our athletes, to talk to them, eat with them, touch them, and that interaction is gaining traction. We will work together with the Ministry of Sports to ensure that the product is well developed. We have, I was asked about the partnerships that we have seen in other countries. Those partnerships We have done our research and we have information. They are quite costly. Some of the partnership costs up to 4 billion Kenya shillings annually. And we are at this stage evaluating which ones can be with the highest impact, with the best affordability. But we have quite a lot of expressions of interest, but we are carefully, together with the relevant ministry and other government authorities, trying to see which will be best for Kenya. On Mama Ngina front, consultations are still ongoing between the county government and the national government. We shall ensure that we hasten the discussions. We were there over the weekend. It is evident that we need to develop Mama Ngina waterfront for functions, for tourism activities. It is a very premium location, but we will hasten the consultations and the action plan that needs to follow. I undertake to do that. In terms of human-wildlife conflict, I want to assure the Honorable Senator that we have not neglected the wildlife segment. It is one of our priorities. The ministry receives about 950 million annually since His Excellency got into office. He has prioritized the human-wildlife conflict issues, both in terms of mitigation and compensation. And we will be glad to have specific discussions with Elgeyo Marakwet. On Rimoi National Reserve, we are working with the county to address the human-wildlife conflict, and we have a directive about the fencing, and there are discussions ongoing with the National Treasury in order to provide a budget. Indeed, we are in touch with the county government that have invited us. At the earliest opportunity, we shall be visiting Elgeyo Marakwet. But on all these issues, we have the review of wildlife conservation bill that is ongoing, so that we streamline these human-wildlife conflict issues, including the compensation, public awareness and education, employment of more rangers has also happened for the first time in 10 years. Last year we had a pass-out parade of 1,270 rangers, which was historic because that had lagged for 10 years. We also have other projects like fencing in the hotspots, and that takes me right straight to the question about the human-wildlife conflict in Kilifi. We were recently in Kilifi together with all the leaders to discuss the matters of human-wildlife conflict. His Excellency the President has also guided us, and we are working on how to fence that area. We know particularly elephants. The population has quite increased, and therefore the conflict has increased. But we are putting all measures to manage the conflict that has ensued. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable, which question? The cable car. Okay, CS. And Senator Consolata, which was your question? Just say which one it was so that...
On territorial integrity, the safeguards put in place by the ministry.
CS, the two questions. The cable car and...
Yes, I beg your pardon, Madam Speaker. The standards for the cable car are yet to be finalized by the KEBS. and we are following that in consultation with other stakeholders. But I will go back and find out where the process has been. But it's one of those things that can really promote tourism. Yeah. On territorial security, security is in consultation with the Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Interior, together with the Tourism Police Unit, and we are having constant consultation, realizing that security is one of the requirements for tourism. Every tourist that leaves their country to travel to another always looks at the security issues, and therefore it is on our highest radar in consultation with all these relevant authorities. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable CS, for answering all the questions that were put before you. We can now release you, and we move on. Honorable Senators, we will defer orders 8, 9, and 10 because the movers are not here. Next order, please.
Order number 11, motion, welfare of interns working under the Public Service Commission, PSC.
Senator Cherarke.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As I rise to move that aware that the Public Service Commission has provided internship opportunities to many youths in various government departments and agencies for a period not exceeding 1 year, pursuant to guidelines on management of the public service internship program. And therefore, Madam Speaker, in appreciating that this motion, since its inception, the internship program in Kenya has been instrumental in providing experience to graduates, enhancing employability, offering networking opportunities, and has on a number of occasions led to a full-time jobs to graduates. Madam Speaker, concerned that internship in this country are limited in number, skewed in distribution across government departments and agencies, lack clear pathway to permanent employment, have inadequate opportunities for skill development. And Madam Speaker, that we should move from, as I move, that internship is insufficient. The stipends that they are giving out of ranging from 15,000 to 30,000 is not sufficient because of high cost of living, especially in cities like Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, and Eldoret, among other cities where the cost of living. Now, therefore, Madam Speaker, as I move that we increase the stipend offered to this, Madam Speaker. So the following
Senator
comments.
Cherarke, you're not discussing, you're reading the motion as is. Please read it as is.
Now, therefore, my reading this culture is different, Madam Speaker. I think your table clerks are not understanding me because I'm reading everything that is here. Okay, let me read. I think the Kenyan style is you must look at it as, let me look at it as I read. Now, therefore, the Senate resolves that the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service and Human Capital Development, in consultation with Public Service Commission, reviews the guidelines to the Public Service Internship Program of October 2019 with a view to, 1, increase the stipend offered to interns to cushion them against high cost of living, and number 2, put in place mechanisms to promote and reward innovations by interns. Madam Speaker, as I make a few comments on this, when you look under Article 55 of the Constitution, it has specifically dealt on the youth issue. Madam Speaker, 2 years ago, in 2024, we had a youth revolution and uprising of Gen Z. One of the concerns was opportunities, both employment and any other opportunity to make life bearable for them, considering most of them, Madam Speaker, have gone to school. And therefore, in fact, what the young people rose up in article is already in our constitution. It is us to implement, Madam Speaker, because when you read Article 55, and I'm pleased that you are a learned senior in this profession, one of the roles that the government must provide is one, access relevant education and training, which is being done. We have had a discussion today, the entire morning, Madam Speaker. Number two, have opportunities to associate, be represented in political, social, economic, and other spheres of life. And number C, access employment. And Madam Speaker, finally, are protected from harmful cultural practices and exploitation. So the Constitution has provided what we should do for the young people. One of them is accessing employment. But since we cannot hire most of them, Madam Speaker, and you know there is population explosion. We are approaching 55 million. And Madam Speaker, yesterday I mentioned something about Japanese two-child policy. And many people are bashing me. I've said the two-child, you give birth to two-child, the government will take care of your two children. But if you add the third one and the fourth one, you take care of yourself. So that we have quality life. You can see how Japanese have operated. And I know Africans, Madam Speaker, our wealth is in children. The more you have children, the more is the wealth, which is not the situation now. That is why we are straining most of education facilities, health facilities. So my proposal is that as we have population explosion in this country, let us adopt the Japanese two-child policy. The government takes care of your two children. If you add the third and the fourth and the many, then you take care of your children. And it boils down to opportunities that we have in this country, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Senators, it is now 1 p.m., time to adjourn the Senate. Senator Cherargei will have 15 minutes to continue moving when the motion is next on the order paper. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until later today, Wednesday, 1st October 2025 at 2:30 p.m.